Welcome, 7th graders. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Miss Belcher, and I'm going to be your teacher for math this year. I love math. I really love teaching in the middle school. This is not how I had originally planned, of course, to start our year, but I believe that it's important to make the most out of whatever situation you have. So I hope you can put a smile on your face and just know that I'm going to do the very best I can to make sure you learn everything that you need to virtually. And since I'm doing my part, I really expect you to do your part too. This is our very first notes in the form of a video lecture. So if you don't have paper and pencil with you, if you could go ahead and pause the video and go find that, that would be really good. The thing to remember with a video lecture is if I talk too fast, you can always pause the video and get caught up. Or if your phone goes off or someone distracts your attention, you can always rewind and go back. So it's really, really important that you get all of the material that I'm giving you in these notes and you don't miss anything. Even though we're learning virtually, I'm still here to help you. You can contact me by sending me a message through Canvas or by sending me an email anytime you need to. And I try to post updates both in the Canvas announcements and on my classroom Facebook page. So if you have questions, please reach out to me. I am here to help you. You can also call me at school between 8 and 3. And I promise that together this will not be that bad. So let's talk about how I want you to head up your paper and how I want you to do your notes. At the top of our paper, I always like to start with a chapter and section number. So right up here at the top is my 1-1 notes. That's where we're starting. What this stands for is chapter 1 or topic 1, section 1. So that way if you ever need to work on some extra practice or you need to go back to something, you know exactly where to go back to. Please make sure you've put your name on your paper, even though you're not turning this in. Being neat and being tidy is a really good habit to have. And you can put your date on your paper. If you're doing these with me today, today is 9/2/20. Now you are going to be submitting a copy of your notes. So make sure as you are completing them that you have neat handwriting and that when I do an example, you have the complete example on your paper. It's not going to help you to have an incomplete example. Some of these are word problems, and I will let you know which part of that problem you need to write down. You will not have to write the entire problem, but you'll number them, you'll write what I tell you to, and as I do the work, if I write it down, you will write it down too. So make sure you have headed your paper correctly. You will head all of your papers in this way. This is our lesson overview, and you do not need to write anything down from this slide. Our lesson overview is kind of like our learning target or our I can statement. You will notice in the top right corner, there is this funny little thing with all these letters and numbers. This is a standard. In the syllabus on Canvas, I have included a link to all of the grade level standards for 7th grade math. The number they start with always refers to a grade. So this is a 7th grade standard. And then it just, you really don't care about the rest of it. But this is a 7th grade standard for numbers, which is where we start with topic 1. All of that stuff is on the number system. And then here is our I can. Students will be able to, or I can, understand how integers, their opposites, and absolute values are related. Also, I can apply this understanding to models like number lines and use these to solve real-world problems. So the big things here, we're going to be talking about integers, their opposites, and absolute values. So there's 3 things here that we're really going to be focusing on. and it says essential understanding. An integer and its opposites are the same distance from 0 on a number line. They are on opposite sides of 0 and have a sum of 0. So opposites kind of cancel each other out, and you've probably worked with that in 6th grade. So this is kind of a review, but the 7 shows you it does carry over into 7th grade. So if you've forgotten it, or maybe you didn't understand last year, it's important that you take the time to study the material and let me know if I can help you so that you do understand it this year. This is the first thing that I would like you to write down on your paper. How are integers and their opposites related? Now, integers and opposites related are bold. So on your paper, I would like you to underline those so that they stand out a little bit. This is the first thing you're going to write on your notes. How are integers and their opposites related? I have defined these, integers and opposites. I would like you to define them also. An integer is a positive or negative whole number. Now this also includes 2 divided by 2. And the reason for that is 2 divided by 2 is actually 1 whole unit. It also includes 11. Now this is a decimal. It's not technically a whole number. However, all of these decimal places are called insignificant digits, meaning they don't matter. They do not change the value. So while this is a decimal, it is actually really a whole number, 11. Opposites are values that are the exact same distance from 0 on a number line due to different signs. So an example of opposites might be 6 and -6. The thing with opposites is that they're going to cancel each other out. So those are both 6 and -6 are opposites because they're both 6 spaces from 0. Make sure you pause the video if you're not ready to go on. Here is example number 1. You do not need to write all of this down. Please go ahead and number your paper for number 1, and let's read it together and figure out what's important from this question. If this were in front of you, I would encourage you to underline maybe things that are really important. Alexis is shopping on the ground floor of the mall when she realizes she left her phone in the car. She walks down 6 floors to the underground parking garage. How far will Alexis walk to get back to the ground floor? Use integers to explain. So I would like you to put shopping on ground floor. Walks down 6 floors. So we are talking about Alexis being on the ground floor. Well, what does the ground floor look like? The ground floor is 0. And she's going to walk down 6 floors. So she has went down 6 floors. The question is, how far will Alexis walk to get back to the ground? So we're kind of looking for the opposite here. So let's write up here with our things on our question. We are looking for the opposite because she needs to get back to 0. So I'm looking for the number that is going to be the same distance from 0, which is going to be, I hope you said 6, because now instead of going down, she's going to be going up. Sorry, my finger hit the slide. So my answer here is going to be 6. That is the opposite of -6. And that's how far she's going to have to walk to get back to the ground floor. If she is 6 floors down in the parking garage, she's going to have to go back up 6 floors to get back to the mall. All right, number 2. Xavier climbs 9 feet up into an apple tree. What integer represents the direction and how far he will climb to get back down to the ground? What does the integer 0 represent in this situation? So this is asking us a couple things. Let's start by, on our paper, writing climbs 9 feet. That's what he's doing. He is climbing 9 feet. What integer represents the direction and how far he will climb to get back down to the ground? Xavier is climbing plus 9 feet up the tree. So I know that he's going to need to go negative back down. But how many negative spaces will he need to go? Well, we're trying to get back to the ground. If he goes up 9, he's also going to have to go down 9. So the integer -9 represents Xavier's climb down. So far you should have written climbs 9 feet, ground question mark. Now you're going to write this answer sentence. The integer, which is a positive or negative number, -9 represents his climb down. The integer 0 represents, I hope you said the ground, good job. So if he goes up 9, he has to come down 9 to be back on the ground. Number 3, Samuel has $20 in his savings account before he makes a deposit of $160. After 2 weeks, he withdraws $160. How did Samuel's savings account balance change? Okay, so let's write on our paper what he started with. He had a $20 savings. And then he makes a deposit. So that's going to add money to our account. Plus $160 deposit. So he has 20, he deposits 160, then he withdraws 160. So that's going to look like minus $160 for a withdrawal. They're asking how his savings account balance changed. These quantities, plus 160 minus 160, these are opposites. Opposites cancel each other out. So he's going to have an ending balance of just that $20 that he started with. If you need some extra time, please hit pause. Number 4, the temperature was 75 degrees. At noon, the temperature increased by 7 degrees. By evening, the temperature decreased by 7 degrees. How did the temperature change? So let's write on our paper for number 4, we have a 75 degree temperature. And my iPad handwriting is not super good. You just have to go with me here. At noon, the temperature increased 7. Do you think that's a plus or minus? Plus. So we have a 7 degree increase. And then it decreased by 7 also. So if increase is a plus, then decrease is a minus or a negative. Do you see any opposites here? Do we have opposites in this example? Very good. Plus 7 minus 7 is opposites. Opposites cancel, so we end up still with just a 75-degree temperature. Number 5, Shaniqua has $45 in her wallet. She spends $4 on snacks and $8 on a movie ticket. What integer represents the change in the amount of money in Shaniqua's wallet? How much does she have left? So for the change, we have a couple things happening. Let's go ahead and write our important information. $45 in her wallet. Let's write that down. Spends 4, spends 8. So they're asking an integer that's going to represent the change. So after you've written that there's $45 in her wallet, she spends 4 and she spends 8, let's talk about this change. Oops. Sorry, my hand keeps hitting the bottom. Okay, this change. The first change was spending $4. Is spending 4 a positive or a negative? It's a negative, so minus 4. Then she also spends $8. So the next change is minus 8. Can you all tell me how much that Shaniqua spent at the movies? Very good. She spent negative $12. So we have answered what integer represents the change in the amount of money in her wallet. The change is negative $12. The second part of this question asks, how much money does she have left? So her money. She had $45 and she spends $12. So she has $33 left. This is our key concept box. I would like you to write this very powerful statement right here as the last thing on your notes. An integer, which they're calling n, which can represent any number, I love variables, and its opposite, which they're calling negative n, combine to make 0. So they cancel each other out. And they've shown you on the number line here that you do not have to write that 4 and negative 4 are opposites, so together they make 0. All right, thank y'all for joining me for our first video lecture. You do need to submit a copy of your notes in Canvas to be graded. I did post a video on this yesterday for 8th grade, and I will post a video for you today, just so you can see what that looks like, a little how-to video. And there is also a very short practice assignment on your online textbook. So you do not have to submit anything in Canvas for the practice, but you do have to submit your notes in Canvas. Once you complete your practice on the Realize site, it will send me your score immediately, and I can go in and give you feedback, I think. I guess we'll figure out after this assignment. So you do need to submit a picture of your notes in Canvas, and then you need to go over to the Realize site, and I think there's 11 practice problems that should look very similar to your notes. If you have any questions, please let me know. I hope you had a good kind of first 7th grade math lesson, and hopefully I will be seeing you all very, very soon.